no Jedi.
Your powers are weak, old man.
Always remember, your focus determines your reality.
Hello there.
General Kenobi! You don't know the power of the dark side.
And welcome back to Disciples of the Force podcast. I'm your host, Spencer Silva, and I'm here with my awesome, great friend, Austin Hyatt. How you doing, Austin?
Oh, I'm just happy to be here. Happy to be back.
Hey, we're always happy to be here.
Sure.
We just got done watching the newest episode of Ahsoka. I believe it was, what was it? Dreams and Madness.
Dreams and Madness.
It was a good episode. We want to dive into that. But before, any Star Wars news?
No big news for Hollywood in general, though. The Writers Guild of America struck a deal, a tentative agreement with the AMPTP. So that is huge news. Things are going to start back up again. And it sounds like the actors are going to reach an agreement relatively soon, of course, if they're making an agreement with the writers. There's no date on the actors yet, but it's looking good.
It's looking good.
Yeah.
Which is great, which means in the long run, Star Wars projects will begin to resume.
Mm-hmm.
Andor Season 2.
Yeah, so it should be Andor first, then Ahsoka, and then Skeleton Crew.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Skeleton.
Or no, it's not Ahsoka, sorry. Andor, Skeleton Crew, and then the Acolyte, if that's still going to happen.
Then do we know the release date for Mandalorian, the last season? Yeah, we don't know.
No.
But anyways, it's big news. That's good for us. Good for Star Wars, good for Hollywood, good for movie lovers, good for everyone.
Yeah.
So that's good. Everyone's getting their own, so that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, other news, the giveaway.
Yes.
Please go ahead and go to our TikTok, Disciples of the Force. It's our most recent as of now, probably get pushed back, but go in there and enter. As of right now, we're doing follow, like, tag.
Follow, like, tag a friend. A bunch of people were commenting, and they were like, I would love this set for my kid. And then didn't tag anybody. I was like,
I'm not gonna
maybe we didn't explain ourselves well enough.
And
I mean, we certainly didn't.
one thing I didn't, one time I was thinking about was like, the person who said that was from Europe, India, or something.
No, like in Indonesia or something, or like Malaysia.
Yeah, I was like, so we're not gonna be able to send it there because
Maybe.
it's gonna cost. I mean, we could.
The United States Postal Service can do a lot of things with a flat rate shipping box. We'll see.
That's true, but I mean, will it get there? Who knows? That's what I'm more worried about. Just put a bunch of pictures of Jesus, like they did.
Yeah, like in South America.
Yeah. So I mean, that's for us. Next week will be the last episode of Ahsoka. Big finale, so we're excited for that. We'll see what happens. We'll talk about everything we think today, and then of course going on from there. Our plan. We finally have an official plan for you guys. Instead of being kind of wishy-washy each week, we're gonna start watching Andor, one episode per week.
Yes, one thing we should do is a recap of Ahsoka.
Okay,
episode.
That'd be nice.
And like our theories for where it's going to go.
I like that.
Because we were talking about this, and we'll get into this, but I'm kind of worried. Of course, we've talked about the pacing of Star Wars shows. With this last episode, they have to meet up with Thrawn. Thrawn's plan with the cargo has to get revealed. There has to be some flight back to the previous or the original galaxy. All that stuff has to happen in this final episode.
Yeah.
So they're going to leave us on a cliffhanger that's going to set up Ahsoka 2 and into Dave Filoni's movie. But we'll see how the pacing works with that.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, without further ado, let's hop in, huh?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Dreams and Madness.
Beautiful.
So to start, it was a short, maybe 3-4 seconds of Coruscant. Well, I don't know if it was Coruscant. It was because they moved the capital, didn't they?
They did, but I don't think they have yet. I think that is Coruscant. Yeah.
Looked great.
Yeah.
Loved it. Looked really cool. Fun to watch. And so that meeting of itself had some pretty big things that were talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you were freaking out. You messaged me because I was running.
Yeah, Spencer was 2 minutes late, and I was like, dude, you need to get here. Mon Mothma was on the thumbnail. My mommy is on the thumbnail, so she's probably going to be a big part. She wasn't a huge part, but Yeah, that was very cool. They made mention of a conflict on Mandalore,
Yep.
talking about, of course, Moff Gideon and
Moff
the
Gideon was
Mandalorians.
mentioned, which was cool, really awesome.
Yeah, so that's on their radar. And of course, we knew that because Carson Teva was a part of the lead up to that. So,
Yeah. It was really cool because it also kind of shows how they're downplaying it. They're like, that was a one-off thing. That's not going to be a problem. And then like, well, if Thrawn shows up, it's going to be a huge problem. And they're like, no, it's not going to be a problem. Again, just the arrogance and ignorance of the I want to say New Order, but that's not right. What the heck do we call this?
New Republic.
New Republic.
Yeah, that's a great point. And the senator that was being a D-bag in this episode, I can't remember his name. It starts with an X.
Yes, I was going to say that's all I was going to say. X.
Commander or Senator Xavier, Senator Xander.
Xiaobing.
Xander. He was like adamant about there being no connection between everything that's going on and some kind of loyalty to the Empire. So yeah, that speaks volumes to their arrogance.
Yeah. Sorry, I just did that thing where you talked and they wasn't listening at all because I was going to look up.
What's his name?
I didn't find it yet because I typed in a terrible way to ask it. Can you, for my sake, repeat what you just said so I can actually listen?
He was just adamant about there being no connection between all the stuff that's going on and a remnant of the Empire.
Yeah, he's basically the biggest downfall right now for everything that's going to happen because from even the 2-3 episodes ago, same exact thing.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's like malicious, if he's actually still connected to the Empire, or if it's just kind of complacency.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, is there a reason he's being so like this, or is it he generally just doesn't have any idea? So I don't know. I think it'll be fun to see how this all plays out.
Yeah.
In the long run. I'm not seeing this guy's name on here.
That's all good.
I mean, I could look it up, but
no, don't worry about it. We'll call him Xander.
Yeah, and then a cameo.
A cameo. We love cameos. Cameos are the lifeblood of Star Wars and everything nowadays. C-3PO. Pretty cool.
And this guy, now, I think he's in the most movies and TV shows.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was before, because R2-D2 doesn't show up till the very end of Force Awakens, right? Or does he not until Last Jedi? Because he has the map to find Luke. They find Luke Last Jedi. Yeah, so R2-D2 shows up at the very end.
But he's not in the Force Awakens? Just the very end?
The very end. Because he's like in the back the whole time. They're like, no, he's not the same. And then...
That's right. They haven't been the same. He hasn't been the same since Luke left. Yeah. I noticed C-3PO didn't have his red leg or red arm that he has in whatchamacallit?
Return of the Jedi?
No. So he's always had a silver leg,
right?
Which I wasn't looking for, but his red arm in The Force Awakens, he doesn't have that yet.
Oh,
so we're yet to see how he loses that. Not that that's a story I care for, but
it is. I think everyone's wondering how does he get that red arm?
Do you think they actually got Anthony Daniels to come, or do you think that was AI voice?
It probably was. He does a lot of. I mean, he did stuff on the Clone Wars.
Yeah, and he's always at every convention and everything.
He's
like
a big Star Wars
he
guy
would do that.
His story is cool because it's just kind of by accident how he got the role.
Yeah,
super fun. So that's just awesome. I'm gonna look him up, Anthony.
While you're doing that, there was mention of Leia.
Yes.
Which was very cool. They called her Senator Organa, and she's the leader of the Defense Council. So in canon, there's a schism between the New Republic and Leia. She wants a more militaristic solution to all of this stuff, like the rise of the Empire or the First Order. And so she splits with the New Republic, and she's kind of like exiled. So it's interesting that she's still a senator at this point and still has that title. Yeah.
So nothing big has happened. I mean, we're only a couple years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So, but she still has a part.
Right.
As of right now.
Right.
Which is cool. And then she saves Hera because that was huge. Needed to happen, which is funny because Mon Mothma was like, she didn't really bail you out.
Yeah.
No, she didn't. She's like, no, she totally, not yet, but.
Yeah, exactly.
Really cool.
And if you haven't seen Rebels, it's not that far-fetched because Leia and Hera do know each other. They've like done a mission or two together. So.
Yeah. It's not too outreach. Also, real quick, looks like they haven't said they don't have C-3PO on here, so I think they're just waiting for not to spoil it to people who go to it. which was super cool. And then we get her leader of Defense Council, which was awesome. So
Yeah.
the next part I have is jumping to Ahsoka.
Yes.
In her training, we see Anakin again. Really cool because I wasn't expecting to see him for the rest of the series. It's something I wanted to point out that I thought was really cool was she mentioned that he had made 20 recordings for her, and that was the last one.
Yeah.
And as it speaks to his character of how much he loved Ahsoka and wanted her to be better and be a really good Jedi and Padawan, that he went out of his way to record all that for her.
Yeah.
Super awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool for Ahsoka's character that she has like a renewed connection with Anakin, because at first she was kind of fighting that off, like because of her guilt of him turning into Darth Vader. She was fighting that connection with him, but now it seems like she's embracing it, which we see later that Thrawn is going to exploit. Like when he finds out she's Anakin's, or she was Anakin's apprentice, he gets like all surprised because he knows Anakin. Right. We'll talk about that later. But now she has this renewed connection with Anakin, and it's more positive thanks to her Force vision in the world between worlds. So I like that a lot. Yeah, that we're seeing more of that.
Yeah. So he's gonna. I mean, just Thrawn is that kind of guy that he's gonna manipulate her and use everything he does. Because, I mean, reading the book when Anakin and Thrawn meet, it's really cool because he shows how like he's like throughout the whole book he's watching what Anakin's doing, taking note of like, oh, you did this at this point, and he's like, why? Like he wants to get to the nitty gritty of it all. And then when he meets, because during that book it splits between him and Darth Vader.
Oh, nice.
So you get like both of while Thrawn's working with Darth Vader and how he worked with him before to save Padme. And it's like 3 or 4 times he mentions Anakin Skywalker to Darth Vader because he knows,
right?
But he says it in a way that's not going to get him killed.
Right.
And every time Darth Vader's like, no, Anakin Skywalker's dead.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's weird because Anakin Skywalker is like, Anakin Skywalker's dead. I think the last time he brings it up, I think Darth Vader threatens him. Like, you say it again, he's dead. There's no need to talk about him again. If you bring it up again, there'll be consequences. And he goes, okay. And he just never says anything after.
Oh, nice.
Really cool. Really cool. It was a really cool part.
So which book is that?
That's the second in the... from 2017, so that would be like 2018.
Okay.
So it's the one right after the one you're reading.
Okay, cool.
I forget the name of it.
Because the one I'm reading, when Thrawn is first brought to the Emperor, that's basically the reason Palpatine lets him in to the Empire is because Anakin vouched for him so long ago.
Right. Exactly.
And that's very cool.
Yeah. So.
Let's see. During that training sequence, Anakin mentions Asajj Ventress, which might be the first time she's mentioned in live action.
To
possibly.
I don't. Yeah, I can't think of another time. I can't think of another time. If they did, it was a throwaway. So.
Yeah, but very cool because she was also a Night Sister, or was baptized into it later. She was born Dathomiri, but then taken away,
and then went back.
Trained as a Jedi, went to be a Sith, and then left the Sith.
Because that's when Count Dooku, I think,
betrayed her to get Savage Opress as
his new apprentice.
Yeah. So she left, went back to the Night Sisters, and like adopted their way of life, right?
Yeah.
For a bit. So that's pretty cool.
I don't think we even know what happens to her after that.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I mean, yes. There's a part with Ahsoka, but I don't think I don't know if that's the same time or if that's after.
No, that's after.
Yeah.
Right? I can't remember.
And that timeline gets all blurry for me. I don't know.
But dude, could you imagine live action Asajj Ventress?
She'd probably be played by Will Smith's wife.
Holy crap, Jada Pinkett Smith. Could you imagine? That'd be sick. Or Doja Cat now.
Oh yeah, Doja Cat.
That'd be sick.
Who else is Natalie Portman in that one movie?
Yeah, movie for Vendetta. Or Florence Pugh for Dune.
Oh yeah. Or Caillou. Oh yeah, fun here. Sure. My next thing I was going to talk about is when Wu Yang is freaking out. He gets really emotional.
Yeah,
like he gets like a lot of like can't think of the word, but worked up. I guess you could say when they're talking about the probability of was it even making it out. I can't even remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't even
something. But he was like he's getting mad or flustered, and I was like, oh, it's cool to see a droid get so animated because usually they're like, okay,
right.
Another thing that was mentioned in the show was that Balin was talking. Nope, Thrawn was talking.
Yeah,
and he talks about Jedis, and he's like, when Ahsoka's hiding in like the the bones in the asteroid, the graveyard, I think is what he called it. And he's like, Jedi have been hiding for years. They're really good at it.
Yeah.
I was like, that was really fun.
Little snarky guy.
Yeah, I like that.
That reminded me of like Han losing the Imperials in the asteroid field.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Little homage.
It's poetry, it rhymes.
Yeah, it rhymes. I have another note here. We talked about this, but Thrawn worked with Anakin, so he knows how to target Ahsoka. He'll know how to manipulate that. Yeah. And I think they're doing a really great job with him. Like all of his strategic things that he's done, waiting her out, preserving resources and things like that. And I like having Morgan Elsbeth there in the command room with him to like kind of be a contrast to that.
Yes.
We're just like, why are you doing this? And it just shows how smart he is. Very cool.
I mean, I want to go off of that for a second. It is funny because, yeah, she's kind of like us, someone who would be in that position. Like, why would we wait? But like, if you don't know anything about Thrawn, you don't know his long game.
Right.
That's all he does, his long game.
That's all he does.
He's a strategist at heart. And that was something I was thinking about when I was watching this. I go, I wonder how many people who haven't seen Rebels started watching this and thought Thrawn was going to be this like crazy like combat villain.
Yeah.
And I was like, because this is probably going to be really weird to them. Like, oh, they haven't fought this guy. And it's like,
yeah.
They probably won't because he's not a combat kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's a strategist, which is cool.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is a cool contrast to like Moff Gideon, who is like a combat guy in a super suit that we see in The Mandalorian. Thrawn is going to be nothing like that.
No.
And I saw a few people complaining about it on social media. Well, it was just one of our comments, actually. It was one of our videos. Somebody commented like, Thrawn is supposed to be like a brilliant warrior, and they cast this like fat old dude. And first off, in this series, Thrawn is like 70 at this point. Yeah, I'm pretty sure in canon. Yeah. He's old. So it makes sense. And also he's not fat. Like, yeah. And that's not what he's about anyway. Like, of course, he's a chiss and he's a good physical warrior, but really his prowess comes from the long game, the mind game, and learning about his enemy.
Right,
so.
Yeah, it's like he's got the bare necessities on how to fight because he had to go through the Imperial boot camp.
Right.
And he knows how to fire weapons.
Yeah.
But that's not him. If he can use he's one of those guys like, if I can use my brain, I'm going to use my brain.
Exactly.
Physical ability.
Well, it totally sets the tone in the first book of the Thrawn trilogy when they're landed on that planet and they find his hut and he's like taking out all the stormtroopers and they have like no idea. Right. The book does a great job of like really mystifying it for you. Yes. And then when he explains it, it's really cool that he just outsmarts them in so many ways.
Yeah. So again, I think people who haven't seen Rebels are going to complain because I mean, I would have thought I'd be like, oh, this guy's going to be this crazy villain who's going to be crazy at fighting, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not that at all.
So that's cool. I was just going to say Zeb was finally mentioned. I don't think they've mentioned him yet.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, so he's his first mention, so that's cool.
But now the whole Ghost crew has been name dropped at least once.
Right. Yep.
It only took 6 episodes.
Yeah, to finally name them all off.
Unless they named him earlier, in which case we're wrong and stupid.
It might have.
I have a note here that I don't understand.
Those are the best notes.
When Sabine is talking to Ezra, I kind of didn't like that. I was talking to my friend. I'm not super interested in the Sabine Ezra reunion. I'm way more interested in Ahsoka facing Baylan and Shin and Thrawn. But whatever. But when they're riding in the little buggy thing and Sabine is talking to Ezra and she's like, yeah, it's a long story about Ahsoka.
Right.
It's like, okay, at this point she's pretty sure Ahsoka's dead.
Yeah. Like,
or are you just going to put off telling Ezra for however long you're going to be with him?
Yeah.
You know, whatever. That's weird. I did like how Ezra asked if the Emperor died. And she's like, that's what people say. Which, of course, opening a door for his clone to come back, whatever.
Yes, exactly. I think they good at opening that up for future.
Yeah.
But I also agree with you that it is so silly of her to not just be like, just tell him.
Yeah.
It doesn't change what you think happened.
Yeah.
But also, I wanted to point out one thing about that. This is the first time we've seen Sabine be Sabine. Like, she was laid back, feet were on the top of the little vehicle, the little hut thing that they're going on, and she was just talking to a friend, which is like, it's cool to see her character kind of like this whole time she's been really uptight, angry, no, we gotta get Ezra. We gotta get Ezra. She's found Ezra, and now she's back to that old
Yeah,
Sabine who's always laid back and chill, and So I thought that was a cool, neat thing they threw in there.
that is very cool, and I noticed that too. Like just her physical. That's what the show has done really well, and of course it's because Filoni's at the head of it. But just making the actors match the physical mannerisms of the animation characters. Very cool.
It's true. I mean, I don't know if you were talking about, but when Ezra tries to talk to Shin, he's like trying to calm her down. What do you want to take us as prisoners? Like that's such an Ezra thing that he would do in the series, which was really fun. And real quick before you go on, when you mentioned how you're more interested in like the Ahsoka's story,
right?
And I agree, and I think that's good because a lot of people were complaining about how it was focused more on Sabine than it was Ahsoka, and it was Ahsoka's show. But it still, at the end of the day, is Ahsoka's show.
Yeah.
So it's like we're gonna get back to that route, which is cool. That they're bringing us back to it.
Yeah, it is great. And really, I don't mean to like criticize the show because I think it's done a good job of. We've seen a lot more of Ahsoka's character arc than we have of Sabine's in the same amount of time.
Right.
So it is her show, and that's obvious.
Yeah.
Another note I have here. I hope I'm not getting too ahead of us, but when the Fate ladies. The
sisters. What are they called? They have a name. I forget.
I can't remember either. Night sisters, but
mother something.
Grandmothers, not grandmothers.
I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, I like how they use like a mix of magic and technology with their little orbs. Like the line finds the coordinates of Ahsoka perfectly. Just a pretty cool little detail there.
They're using both, not just which is cool.
And you also mentioned that the transports that we've seen before in Star Wars, but you said that they reminded you of the ornithopters from Dune.
Yes.
Very cool. I also like the technology that they're using seems kind of like Dune 2021.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Which I love.
That's what I was thinking too when I was watching it. Yeah. So that's really awesome. Because I think even last week someone pointed out that one of the ships looked kind of like a Dune ship as well. It wasn't the ones we just saw. It was a little bit different. I'll have to look it up. But yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they took a lot of influence from that. No, right. I mean, some of these have already existed for a while. But
right, exactly. But even like the idea of the witches, I'm pretty sure that's like a proven link to Dune.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because Dune came
link
out.
to the Bene Gesserit.
That
came out in
old.
The 50s or something.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's a lot of similarities. Like, the main protagonist being... okay. Anyway, the main protagonist being the chosen one and being sensitive to some like otherworldly out-of-body force and having a prophetic first name and growing up on a sandy planet. Anyway, he didn't grow up there. Anyway, there's like memes about how George Lucas pretty much just stole everything about Paul Atreides from Arrakis. So,
I mean, yeah. Hey, everyone rips off everyone.
Yeah,
You don't come up with your own idea.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to say is I call it force talking. I don't know, with that communication that Ahsoka did to talk to someone, which we've seen with Luke and Leia in Empire Strikes Back when Luke's on that little post at the bottom.
Yes.
It's really cool. I asked the question to Austin. I was like, does the recipient need to be strong in the force? And we couldn't think of another example other than Luke and Leia, but they're both strong in the force. I feel like there's a scene with Rey, but I think I'm just going back to the lightsaber that she touches at Maz's place. So I don't know.
Right.
So if you know, listeners, comment. I mean, you guys comment so much and email so much.
Yeah.
You guys got to stop.
Keep doing it. I also liked the conversation with... Did you have anything else on that?
No, that was all I had.
The conversation between Balin and Shin Hati. Where he's like, your ambition is taking you down one path and my path lies on another.
Yes.
Or elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then he calls his new thing an empire.
Yeah, he did call it that.
So this story is adapted from the original Heir to the Empire book. And that Heir to the Empire was referencing Thrawn. I wonder if this could be like a play on that, where Balin is the heir to some kind of empire that he's going to start.
Yeah.
I'm very, very interested in that.
Yeah, because we know, we're at their crossroad, or there, one's going down that path where Shin has to go kill. She was told to go kill Sabine and Ezra.
Yeah,
and he was gonna say, "See ya."
Yeah,
go somewhere we have no idea.
And she felt betrayed that he wasn't going with her. And there have been seeds that have been sown in previous episodes too that they're going to split.
Yeah.
And so when at the end of this episode, when Ahsoka's like, "Come with me," whatever. I think that's just foreshadowing to what's going to happen next episode, where maybe Shin will team up with them or something like that. I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see.
because I mean, we were joking around about this after the show, but I mean, yeah, the stormtroopers, they took off, they were gone,
Right.
and they're, I don't know what the transports are called, and
I can't remember either.
yeah, so they're gone, and she's going off on a howler. There's no way they're gonna catch up, and like Thrawn said from last episode, they're gonna leave them regardless, because I mean that's another thing that we talks about, and I think this is what I took it as. Thrawn says all she had was time. Now she doesn't have time anymore.
Yeah.
Meaning, I think we're going to leave them and they're stuck here. They
Right.
have no way of getting back. All their time is going to be eaten up at this planet. Is kind of how I took it.
Right.
But anyway, regardless, Shin's going to have to try to get all the way to the cruiser and then she's not going to get there in time. There's literally no way. And I think this is when we're going to see this. Maybe Ahsoka will take her under her wing because they're all going to be stranded.
Right.
Chilling with the Noti. So, I don't know.
So very interesting. Very cool.
Yeah, it'll be. And like you said, we got one episode to do it. So it is, I mean, there's no way they're going to be able to wrap this all up with a bow. That's going to be a cliffhanger for sure.
But I'm pleased because the thing that's wrong with Star Wars pacing in TV shows is usually they are not totally transparent about a second or third season. With this, it seems like they kind of have a plan. So if we do get left on a cliffhanger, it's just like any other TV show where you're left on a cliffhanger at the end of a season and then you have to go into the next season. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I do want to know what's going to go on.
I think and this is my theory. This is Spencer's theory. I think it's going to be a kind of, again, an Empire Strikes Back kind of thing. I think all hope's going to be lost yet again. In my mind, I bet you Thrawn's going to bounce. He's going to leave with his people because they've already said he's got all the cargo that they needed. They're going to head out. And I think the rest of them are going to be stranded on this planet in this other universe. And what I think might happen is they get back, right? And then they're going to be like, oh, Thrawn's now a threat. And he's in the outer regions. And I wonder if then Mandalorian, because now this could really save Mandalorian. Next season of Mando, you have Thrawn now working with Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
And now the Mandalorians are trying to fight against that threat because now it's being introduced to the thing, and then Ahsoka and them are trying to get back. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
I think that would save the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Threw all of them back into that. So.
Yeah, that would be really interesting because we know that Ezra still has I'm not sure if he still does, but he's had a relationship with a Purgle, so they would have a way back now that they have Ezra.
It's true. But they go there to die. That's the other thing.
That's true.
So that's the only thing that made me think maybe they won't be able to get back.
Yeah, that's true.
But who knows?
But also, the Mandalorians and Bo-Katan are familiar with Ahsoka, so it would make sense for them to have some incentive to get her to help them fight Moff Gideon.
It'd be cool too if they did bring Luke in his Jedi training that he's doing. I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential they have.
Yeah.
Probably not going to tap into it.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, this has totally changed my outlook on Star Wars in the future, this series. I'm quite pleased with it, and I think if Filoni is going to be at the head of that movie, I think it'll be good. It'll be okay. Yeah.
I think I had. Oh, I was going to say one more thing about that, but and the other reason why I did bring that up, sorry, about the Mandalorian being with Thrawn, because last season Mandalorian they have that big meeting with everyone, and they mention Thrawn in that meeting.
Yes.
So that's the other reason why maybe. Anyway. That's my last thing.
Well, yeah, it's certainly leading to that point because when Thrawn goes back to the original Star Wars galaxy, what's he going to find there? Like, he knows that it's a totally different world now, that it's a totally different game. The Empire's gone.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to tap into those resources that are loyal to him and everything like that.
Yeah, so
that'd be cool. I think that'll be good. Yeah. I did like the ending fights. We talked about Balin versus Ahsoka, very Kurosawa-esque.
Really cool.
Very cool.
Standoff.
I also liked the Noti versus the bandit guys.
Right. Reminded me of, for me, it was Endor. Reminded me
exactly.
of the
Same.
Ewoks, which we know is Viet Cong.
Yeah, Viet Cong against the Americans.
Viet Cong against the Americans, which is, sticks and stones versus high weaponry.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was cool.
Like that a lot. Also, just the production value of it. Like I was thinking of the season finale of the Book of Boba Fett because we saw that video today. So good.
So good.
But how there were like no stakes in any of the combat, and it was just a little too like visually it was horrible.
Yeah.
This was done well with like all of the Noti putting their pods in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
That made for a lot of cool dynamic shots where they're fighting off the bandits and then the stormtroopers when they get there. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I also like that their pods are like little armadillos. Kind of crow when they get scared. But no, I agree. I think it did make for really fun fighting, and like they could like dodge, go in and out, and they made some cool shots of when they were.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Sabine had some cool. She used her lightsaber, cut that guy, and then kicked him.
Oh, dude, that's the other thing. Like lore accurate lightsabers.
Yes, exactly.
Like they're powerful again.
Yeah.
She stabs right through one of the bandits, and then when she strikes a stormtrooper, kills him with one blow.
Yeah.
You know, after seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi, you would think that's not how a lightsaber works.
Right.
But
I guess they lost a little bit of their potency after years.
yeah, I guess so.
The other one that I was going to say with that was something. Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
That's great.
You keep going. I'm going to remember what I was going to say. I remembered.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just laughing when I was watching. It's a classic Stormtroopers. They just didn't hit any of them again. Still, all those years out there, they couldn't figure out how to aim.
Couldn't get it. No, yeah, I thought that was great. I also liked Ahsoka's, or not Ahsoka, Ezra's fighting style. Where he's like, I don't need the lightsaber. I'm just going to use the Force.
Like the
kind of funny. Kind of
Guardian
cool.
of the Wills, or
Yeah.
what is his name? Forget it.
Don't
Rogue
ask me.
One guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, same thing. Like, yeah, he didn't need it because he's now kind of at the one with the Force. And while we were watching that, I don't know if you were going to say this, so I'm sorry if I take your thunder. It's really cool to see his progression. I mean, go back to Rebels. Ezra sucked with the Force.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, he tried so hard to have that connection. Then he finally got the connection with the animals, but then he tried to use it like Force on. I remember on some stormtrooper tried to do a Jedi mind trick, didn't work, and like he failed like a real person would in attempting to do this. And then he became this master, so powerful with how he's able to push bodies, and it was really cool, really fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I still wasn't totally bought into Rebels, but it's either the beginning of season 3 or the beginning of season 4. There's one episode where they're like infiltrating this Imperial base, and Ezra's just going like crazy OP. He's like doing 360 flips over the stormtroopers and slicing them in half, and he like takes control of an AT-AT and makes a guy kill his own guys. Like when we left Ezra, he was super powerful in the Force, so it makes sense 10 years later that he doesn't need a weapon.
He doesn't need a weapon, yeah.
It's very cool.
Also, I love that scene because everyone's like, "That's a little dark, Ezra." He's like, "We have to win."
Yeah,
It's funny.
so good.
Yeah.
So that's all I've got for notes.
Yeah, and then, my last thing was just we already touched on it. Thrawn is just looking at that bigger picture. Like he's not like, as he said, he's like, I mean, we lost, but it was a small like we didn't really lose much. Like for the gain we're going to receive. And think about what he's saying. Like, sure, we lost 5 troopers or whatever down there, but if we can leave them here and we get to get out of here, that's a huge gain because now that threat is gone. Ezra, who's got Thrawn in that area in the first place, who's always been a threat to him this whole time during Rebels, and Ahsoka on top of that would be a big win for them. Yeah. So.
Yeah, very awesome. That was the last thing that was going to stop Thrawn, and now he's ready to be unleashed on the Star Wars galaxy. So
it'll be fun. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what they do. I wonder how long this next episode's going to be. Do we even know?
No, we don't know. I don't think it. I mean, there's always like a leak the day of how long it's going to be. But.
So I'm hoping it's a little bit longer for this, into maybe an hour. I'll take an hour.
I'll take 56 minutes.
Well, 57.
Okay, raise me. That's perfect.
Yeah, and the last thing I was going to bring up has nothing to do with anything we were talking about today. Did you see the whole Rex theory with the actor that was during Return of the Jedi on Endor?
Yeah.
Have you seen that whole theory?
Yeah, Chris Sant.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
I wish they never gave him that name because that is a really fun theory to run with. That he looks, because they even in Rebels they give him that beard, right?
Yeah.
Just like the guy, and they give him the get up like an Andor, and then it's mentioned that he fought in that battle.
Yes.
Anyway, but everyone says the only thing that stops the whole theory is that he was named.
But in my mind, okay, so do you know why he's named Chris Sant?
No idea.
It's a pun. It's a Santa Claus pun because he has a white beard. Because that's what they did in the 80s, Star Wars fans. They would give every background character a stupid name. And so it's like a play on St. Nicholas, of course. Or maybe it's Nick Sant is his name. It must be Nick Sant.
Okay.
Anyway.
Something like that.
So my headcanon, because Filoni made it abundantly clear that that's Rex.
Yeah.
Like he gives him the same helmet in
Right.
Rebels, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And then it's explicitly said in the final episode,
That he fought.
Sabine is doing her little monologue and she mentions Rex on Endor. That's certainly Rex. So I always just understood that it's Rex no matter what.
Yeah.
But I did see a video this week. We must have seen the same video. And this guy's like, yeah, it's never been confirmed. I was like, that's confirmation enough.
Yeah.
Like he's fighting under an alias, if anything.
Yeah.
That's
Well, and
my
I didn't realize that
justification.
the fans had given the name. I thought like the studio gave that name. Like on the script, that was the guy's name.
As far as I know, it's probably the fans.
Which, yeah, I mean, I just thought it was funny. Like, that's what I just love about Star Wars is we will always connect small little things. Or this like, someone says a sentence and they'll be like, well, that doesn't work, and they'll answer it years later.
Yeah,
I just love that about Star Wars. How
it is great.
so that's why you can be nitpicky they usually clean it up if they
Yeah.
can. So, I mean, for example, you got Sir Alec Guinness saying fought with him in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, then you
See
get
what we have now.
years and years of
Yeah.
content from it.
So super awesome. I think that's all I have.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I'm excited about the final episode. I think we've kind of touched on what we think is going to happen, right?
Yeah,
So-
I mean, that's what I hope. But I also like it when I'm wrong. I like it when I'm wrong in it, but it's still good. You know.
Dude, you know what I love is we'll talk about something, me and you, either on the pod or just kind of in between us. And then I'll go watch the Easter egg videos the next day, and they'll mention them like, yeah,
we
dude.
got it. I know it's been boosting
Feels
my
good.
confidence.
Yeah.
Because the other night I was watching one of those Easter egg videos. I kept going, yes, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, we said that, we called that out. It's crazy. We
Yeah.
mentioned that. She's like, you're a nerd. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, I have a Star Wars podcast,
yeah.
of course.
So I got to be on top of it. I'm reading Star Wars books. I never would have thought I'd been doing that.
Yeah, seriously, that is super cringe.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you for being a disciple of the Force.